What is up? Welcome back to another episode of Becoming a Bowhunter. This week's episode is brought to you by the crew over at Dog and Gun Coffee. And you can get $10 off your next order when you use the code Bowhunter. Now, there are a few different blends that I would highly recommend. I really like the Samba blend, which I talk about quite often because it's my daily brew. It's what I have within my espresso machine. But I would also highly recommend the Full Send blend. I really think this is quite delicious as a cold brew, and not just like a pour the water over the top of it, like hot water, and then chuck it in some ice. The way I actually prefer to do it is to buy the pre-loaded drip filters, take the cardboard off the side, chuck them into like a protein shaker and shake it up just with cold water and let it sit for a few hours. Great for just leaving in your esky while you're out camping. So you can just grab and go with a cold brew coffee in the morning or in the middle of the day, especially great for summer. I also really like the chamois blend, and this is just a great pour over coffee. So very, very similar sort of outlay, buying the pre-loaded drip filters, but using it as a hot coffee. So pouring it over the top, using it properly how it's meant to be used. Really, really delicious. And I took them on a snowboarding trip that I went on last year. And the people that I was with could not get over how delicious the coffee was that I had on hand with me, and all we had to do was just pour hot water over it. So pretty incredible what they've created, what they've designed, and you guys can get $10 off your next order when you use the code, all in caps locks, Bowhunter. Enjoy.
Hey there, and welcome to Becoming a Bowhunter. I'm your host, Matty, and join me and our guests as we take the quality of meat back into our own hands. Searching the wild for free-ranged animals to harvest as ethically as we can. I interview a variety of specialists from the bow hunting community to help fast-track your journey as a bow hunter. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this chinwag on one of your favorite topics in the world, bow hunting.
Guys, welcome back to another episode of Becoming a Bowhunter. This week, I sit down with Shazda Brown. And Shazda gives us a lot of insights into the Aboriginal culture, and a lot about his history and his tribe's history, the tribes and locations that he has lived in and been around, as well as what bow hunting or hunting with sharp objects actually means for the Indigenous communities. He talked a lot about different elements of hunting as an Indigenous Australian, but also elements of I guess, tradition that gets passed on. And we really delve deep into that, and I think it's really quite a beautiful conversation, and really quite insightful for me, someone who has not delved as much into this stuff as what I'd definitely like to. So, I honestly think what Shazda's doing is incredible. He's got some big plans that he's working towards, and if he can pull it together, I think it's going to be, just absolutely amazing for the local Aboriginal community, but also just for bow hunting in general. So if you've got any helping hands that you can lend Shazda while he's on this path, please feel free to reach out to him at On Country Living. Anyway, guys, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Alrighty, bow hunters, welcome back to another episode of Becoming a Bowhunter. Sitting down today with Shazda Brown. Welcome, Shazda.
Thanks, mate. How you going?
Dude, I'm going really well. Thank you for doing this.
No, it's all good, man. It's my pleasure.
So we actually we'd connected a little bit on Instagram before. We'd talked a little bit over just different things. But then you reached out after I did the Blood Origins podcast, and you said, mate, you said that you were looking for an Aboriginal that had done a lot of hunting, or a lot of bow hunting in particular, or hunting in general.
Yep.
Let's chat. What do you want to talk about? And I was like, dude, this is so sick. It's so good to be able to connect. The only box you didn't tick is the fact that you don't live in South Australia, but I don't think that really matters because we're one big country, one big nation, right? So it shouldn't really matter where it's from. I think realistically what we're all talking about in general is just how good bow hunting is for those who go and do it. For those who get into it, I think it's just such a big release in regards to many ways, but definitely like the mental side, the physical side, like it just has so many benefits to it. And I think
what we're all trying to really fight towards is, obviously we're talking to bow hunters, but something that's just such a passion for so many people. But we're fighting towards just a healthy outdoors project for people, right? It's not like I don't know. It's not like we're out in the street trying to go against someone's massive beliefs or anything. It seems like it's just such a simple thing that we're really kind of asking for, that we're fighting for. But it's funny that I guess really it does go against so many people's beliefs. It's unfortunate.
Yeah. Well, I think when it comes down to the taking a life and the archery, that side of it, and the killing and taking an animal with a bow, some people may not like, but I think after having a chat to them, and most people generally come around and are interested in it.
Definitely, yeah. I used to hide away quite a lot, to be honest. Like in social situations, there was guys at the gym that I go to, which I'm really quite social at quite a lot. They would always say things about that. Like in the past, they'd made comments about hunters, and they made comments about like cruelty to animals and stuff like that. And I kind of really avoided the conversations in general. Whereas now, I talk very openly and honestly about it, and everyone's really for it. Like I get so many questions about the meat. I get so many questions about the taste of it and what it's actually like, and can I cook them some and stuff like that. Like there's just, it's opened up a big world of something I was so afraid to talk about, which really I shouldn't have been at all, because it's just about how you approach it. It's not like we're talking about yahooing out in the fields.
No, exactly. Like when you really want to get into it, and you find out how actually fun it is and dedicated you can really be, I find that it helps apply to your normal lifestyle without going out hunting. So, like, just learning new things in general, you're keen to take them on.
Mm-hmm.
So if you take on the archery and something good happens for you that day, you feel pretty good about yourself.
Definitely.
And then when you go home, you're on this big high that, like, yeah, man, we had a ball today. Everyone had a ball out there. And you come home, talk about it, and things just get done.
Dude,
if that
definitely
makes sense. Because everyone's enjoying themselves together. It's a good family activity. I find that like all my kids, a few of my partner's got a bow. I've got her into the bow, and she's trying her best to have a go. My kids, all my boys shoot.
It's awesome.
Their bows. At the same time, like it's a good get together sport.
Definitely.
And like the kids out here where I'm at, like they're getting bored of all the little activities that the community put on.
Whereabouts are you based, just for the listeners?
I'm just out at Campbelltown in Aids.
Mm-hmm.
It's in New South Wales, Sydney.
Yeah.
The southwest
suburbs, right, of Sydney.
Yeah, man. It's a pretty gnarly area where I'm from. Or people would call it the ghetto.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. And like out here, I've grown up my whole life, so I know the bush. I know every little nook and cranny where the people go to swim and have fun, and I know where all the Aboriginal sites are and all that sort of stuff.
That's incredible.
So I've been involved in the bush a lot.
That's super cool.
And then going from the Indigenous hunting, like when I was a kid with my dad, he showed me a lot of little tricks of the bush and some song lines that we had. And then
can we pause there? I want to ask you about the song lines. Let's dive into that a little bit more. So song lines, if I'm correct, are essentially the way that the tribes, when they'd meet up, they would sing their song line, and that would explain about the history of your tribe. Is that correct?
Well, it's more or less, say if you have, in a way, that's one of the reasons, one way of putting it. But to put it in an easier term, say if you learnt a family song, say sitting down at Christmas and someone made a family song, and then the next Christmas you learnt it, and then you told your kids that song.
Yeah.
So that's a song line in itself. However you do that, however it was made, that song, you need to constantly do it the same. So if you were taught a way to throw something, you need to always do it that, because the ancestors did it that way. So it gets passed down. So it's kind of like a tradition. So like people go to the shopping centres and go shopping every certain day, or they look in their fridge and they top it up. That's a song line.
Okay.
That type of thing. So then when you have ancestors that have taught a lot of people, from back in the day. It just gets passed down like that. So your mum and dad would have taught you, you need to do this, wash your dishes, do everything like that to live in your society house. That's a song line.
Yeah, wow. There you go. I didn't know it went that deep, essentially. That's awesome.
Yeah. Because we didn't have any written text, any way of writing things down to pass on like a diary or a Bible or anything. We had the caves a certain season. So when the season would come, you'd only eat certain foods. That's what the country would give you. So that's a song line in itself. So your diet, everything like that. So in the culture down here, there was 6 seasons. 6 seasons, and there was like not the normal 4.
So what do they? Where does the extra ones come into play?
Oh, the seasons don't come down onto like the weather that you're thinking about. And they have like a mixture of them. So a certain animal will come into mating season. So that means this flower will come.
Yeah, wow.
And then you live on that flower. So it's kind of like that.
So based on flora and fauna rather than on moon cycles as such or the weather.
Yeah, exactly. So nowadays when like the season calendar for the Indigenous, like it's full out of whack. It's out of whack now. So like on the Darawal people down here, they base their certain diets off the whale migration as well. So and the whale migration's been late this past few years, like because of the season. I don't know, however you want to put
waters
it,
or whatever it might be.
Yeah, what the people call it, climate change and all that sort of stuff. And then it goes back to the Indigenous ancestors saying that the world's crook. It's angry. It's sad. So it's breaking down, and it's turning slower and all that sort of things because it's getting crook. We're not putting back into the earth. We're taking from it. And so that's what the ancestral song lines are, and that's what they stress about so much because we used to put back into the earth so many times with the back burning and then regen with the fruits in a certain way we would put it back into the earth. We'd only take a certain amount. We don't overpick. All of that comes down into a song line. So when people pass them down to them, they pass down the heart, the passion, the dream, the memories, everything. So that's why it holds it very it's a good, like it's a Barnesy song, and everyone loves to sing a good Barnesy song. So when you're on country with your family, like you're singing and you're practicing all these practices that your ancestors taught you, the next one and then the next one down, and then when it gets to you, that's why it feels so strong because it's like it's been passed down, and you're doing the same things they did. Exactly the same. So
that's
when
cool.
So even right down to when you make your spears. So when you make your spears, you've got to practice everything the right way, select it the right wood, take out the certain animal parts that you need for the heads, everything like that. You got to practice all that the same way they did.
That's so fascinating. So to go back to kind of your upbringing with your dad, showing you a lot of the song lines in particular of around the hunting side of things.
Yeah.
And like how old were you when you first started getting amongst it all and what did that look like?
I was about 5 or 6. There wasn't so much like the hunting. It was more going on the country and touching feet to country and then walking through bush, going fishing, like all of that. When I was younger, we'd probably use hand lines just on the old Coke bottles.
Yeah.
And nothing too dramatic, but it was the time. And then searching, gathering, teaching me about certain leaves, trees, just talking. And then as you get older, you get interested. And then you get older, say about 10, 11, I got my first rabbit. He showed me. See, that was with a slingshot. So ever since then, I was like, yep, cool. And like when I had that, I had my first bundi, and that's your club. It's like a club. So when you get your animal, you can just knock it on the head and it's done.
Yeah, okay.
And so I had that. So I felt like, yeah, I'm cool now. Like I felt like a warrior because I've heard about it all so much in my life from my dad and my uncles and everyone. And we're coastal, so we my bloodline's from Taree, they're Biripi Nation.
Yeah.
So we're shark people, and so we love the ocean. He taught me how to dive, so I was a good spearfish, a hand spear, going down underneath, collecting crayfishes.
And like traditional style spears that you made yourself?
Yeah, I make all those myself now. Because my dad's passing. As I was growing up, I didn't really realise what he was doing until I've had to be the teacher myself.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realise how much knowledge I know at the moment now. So
It's incredible that he did that without you knowing then, right? Like to be
yeah,
able to teach
just
without...
making it the lifestyle and making it like it's the norm. So when people talk about, oh yeah, I'll do that, and they're like, really? And it's like a tourist activity type thing, but you're doing it every weekend with your dad.
Yeah, that's
So
awesome.
I used to go over there every fortnight when I was a kid, and he'd pick me up and we'd go over there, and then we'd either go and do all these things, I didn't really know what we were doing at the time, so young, but it was just the way of life. So like, he'd always cook curry rabbit stew, curry goat, and like the places we were going on farms and going camping, and just all of that. I just thought that's what we were doing.
Yeah,
that's
you just thought it was the
dad
normal,
and
right?
son time. Yeah, it was awesome. And like he'd have spears, or we'd sit around the fire and talk, and tell stories about just Dreamtime stories, and the stories that we would tell you, they'd reflect in part of your life. So like it's basically he's telling you stories about his life, how he learnt through ancestral stories. So certain things can corrupt your mind to take you off track.
Definitely. Yeah, we read a story to my daughter quite a lot about the serpent that goes through and creates the
mountains.
Exactly, creates the mountains, creates the rivers. Yeah, it's quite a cool little story.
Yeah, man. That's like, so that when you really dive down into it, like the Aboriginal culture's a lot like a lot of other cultures, man. It's similar if you really dive down into it.
When you look at it, they're actually like the oldest people within the world, right?
Man. Yeah, so it's like all the others have learnt from us and gone about and got paraded with a lot more colours and more shapes and everything, There's like, you can dive deep, but yeah, it's whether you want to stop and live on that one, I suppose.
And so, I mean, like this, I want to go back to the spearfishing real quick because you don't necessarily like. Did you have any form of like elasticity when you're holding the spear, or is it all just done by like getting close enough to the fish and jamming it?
When we were going on the water, like you'd go like traditional with the spear and the woomera and stuff. But when he was basically teaching me how to hold my breath more than anything. So that was just with the old, the one you get from the fish shop with the rubber on it.
Yeah, cool.
The hand spear. And I didn't have flippers or snorkels or anything, so I had to go down and we had like, the old swimming backyard pool goggles, the little round ones. Yeah, that's all we had. So that's what I had to use.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah, it was pretty hard, but I think most of the time the hardest part was being so little and trying to go down with the current.
Yes, definitely. Thrash around a little bit. So, what would you guys dive for? Like you said, you were diving for crays. Would you also dive for urchins and stuff like that?
Yeah, but that was only on a certain time. We didn't go down for all the time because where I was from, we could only eat those at a certain season.
Okay.
But the crays we could have all year round. The mullets we used to eat, but they go a bit funny now because the water's a bit funky.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You can taste the difference in them?
Yeah, you can.
Does it matter where you catch them from?
Oh, we try and get them where, like, we spear those as well. And then sometimes we get the small ones, we put them in the crab traps.
Yeah.
And then we get better meat with crabs.
Yeah, okay.
Or if it was a pretty pooey day that day, we'll go and get crabs in the mangroves.
Yeah.
My uncle would take me out there. They're doing that. That was up at Grafton.
Yeah.
So that was the big gathering there. We'd go up there on Grafton Mission and go out there. That's where I learnt to surf, actually, on Grafton up there, Yamba.
It's nice up there, hey?
Yeah, it's really
Beautiful
good country.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a couple of good jewfish up there ways too when I was little and snapped my dad's rod. Yeah, it was
Still
full
recovered
on.
the fish.
Oh, on another rod, but he was a bit annoyed that I snapped his rod. Yeah, we had to go and get some more rods because he used to normally fish with hand lines, but it was that season, so he had all these other gear, and I was only about 16, 17.
Yeah. Oh, it's
So,
definitely
it was
worse
one
things
of
you could be
those.
doing at that age, that's for sure.
Yeah, I didn't want to be there at the time. I wanted to go surfing and stuff, so
Yeah.
I was a bit annoyed by making me go out. But yeah, you get distracted through the lifestyle up on the coast, and the sea breeze just, I don't know, it does something to me.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
love the salty air, and
I can agree with
it's-
that. Yeah, brings you back, doesn't it? The two
yeah, it
things
makes
for
you
me.
breathe better.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Salt air or
cleans
being
your
out in the
lungs out.
bush.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. And like with all that, I'm just going, and then like there was something in me. I don't know. I had a bit of a falling out at some point, and then I ended up in rehab. And after that, I picked up the bow, man, and because my father passed and everything like that. So once I picked up the bow, I just applied all that knowledge that I had and just hit the ground running, man, or should I say stalking, really.
Yeah,
And then
dude.
and like instead of the spear and woomer, I picked the bow up, and I had to teach myself everything, every single thing. I had to learn through listening to this channel, watching Brad Smith. There's another few blokes. The guy from Knock On TV.
Yeah. John Dudley.
Yeah, like all of that, man. And this what got me out like a deep hole. So I was like, I'm so thankful to this. And where I'm from, man, there's so many kids that are going through this same drama. And like, I just want it out there. I want to make it feel like it's contagious. This feeling of like prepping for a hunt and making sure everything's on point. That you're practicing every day, like your fitness, your diet, just so you could go for 2 days on a weekend.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think if anything, you're probably in a position to talk about more than anyone, right? Like to be able to bring yourself out of rehab and find a purpose within the bow, like that's pretty massive.
Yeah, man. Like, and my partner at the time, like, man, she's the best. Well, I think it's been about 4 or 5 years now. So like, and she's been helping me out 100% the whole way. Like, I don't know. She's felt the other side of starting to be a hunter and wanting everything to do with being a hunter, and everything you talk about is bows, bows or camouflage or boots or something, you know?
Yeah.
So when I was hunting in the bush, well, you don't need none of that. You throw some ochre on and you look like a gum tree, and you know. You got your spear, your creep. Yeah, you got ancient ways of hunting, and it's similar, but you need a few more people with you. And hunting by yourself, when you're trying to document it as well, because people want to see it. So you're like, oh, it's so stressful, man. And but
it's funny, right? Because it's all internal stress. You're putting it all in yourself, right? It's all,
100%.
Yeah, it's just interesting what a phone, like carrying a phone around or carrying a GoPro around, can do to you. I often think about that as a process and wonder if I would have been more successful earlier on if I hadn't kind of documented my whole journey. But at the same time, I'm glad it played out the way it did. Like it's been what it had to be, and I still get messages every day or every week. Like I still get at least 2 to 3 messages a week just saying, "Dude, thank you so much for the podcast. Thank you so much for sharing." Like,
yeah, man. It's just like a camp. I don't know. It's becoming a culture, if that makes sense. Like it's I don't know. There's things that I want to do down here because I work at a thorough Aboriginal land council down in where I live now, and the opportunities that the kids need down here, and like I'm trying to start my own Indigenous bow team.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So once I try, and I've got to set up meeting with all the elders and get the permission, and we've got to select a name. And then once we select a name, then, yeah, I'm going to try my best to get a hunting club so all the fathers and the kids down here can all try and feel what I'm feeling in some way. And we have a lot of land out here that needs maintenance and looking after through pest control as well. And bow hunting's perfect for that.
Definitely.
So it doesn't disturb the neighbours. And the land that we do have down here, they're little pockets, and they're getting thrashed by deer, foxes. Well, we have the lyrebird down here. That's the totem for the Darrell people.
Is that your tribe, the Darrell?
No, that's just the town of Campbelltown. That's just the country of town, because I don't know if you've seen the country map for Indigenous people.
No, actually I haven't.
Well, if you just Google that, whole of it, because Australia is not called Australia to the Indigenous people. They have their own Indigenous lands, and it's all marked on their territories where they are. They have their own country. So that's why there's so many languages. And where I am now is Darrell country. That's down in the southwest, down like towards Wollongong, like just on the skirts of Liverpool, all the way down to, I think, Nowra, close to Nowra, and up close near the Blue Mountains. And that's Darrell country, and they've got a lyrebird down here. That's their totem. And it's getting smashed by people's dogs, cats, and foxes. And it's so hard to protect it out here because you can't see them anymore.
No, exactly. Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah, and I'm thinking if I start this hunting team, because the hunting club that I want to start for the Indigenous kids and the families down here, that they can help preserve the places that we have and feel more inclined of protecting the totem as well.
Definitely.
Down here.
Dude, that's incredible. Is like what else do you need apart from the elders to kind of tick off on it and approve of it?
Oh, just doing everything right. Like, I just want it to be done right. So, I don't know, the governments or however they do their things and say, no, you didn't do it right. Like, I want it to be done right. We have land that needs protecting, and we have a lot of young youths out here that are bored. So if we connect them both and make them feel more like a custodian to their little local area,
Yeah.
I know for a fact that once it starts, it'll get full and more people want to come because they're just so bored, and it'll get them away from the drugs and crime. They'll feel the more inclined to prepare for something because they know that the outcome is so rewarding. It's more than what they're doing now at the moment. And
definitely.
Not to hate on the normal sports or anything like the footy and soccer and all the stuff like that, but they are getting bored, man. Like even with the kids with the skateboards and the scooters and all that sort of stuff, they're putting up skate parks and everything, you know. And like when I grew up, I did a lot of graffiti, a lot of that stuff with the trains and everything, and they still don't compensate for the graffiti artists out here. Like there's things that are, like I still do graffiti, and not on the bad way, but yeah, I still.
No, just an art form, right?
Yeah, I enjoy it, and that's my forbidden expression, you know. And so out here, even if they set up legal walls, like the amount of artists and the talent that you'll see is like, wow, where did that come from?
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, definitely.
And they're just hidden away because they're too scared to show it.
Yeah,
and
100%.
If we have some new things, and I know that archery saved me out and pulled me out, I know it'll pull a few brothers and sisters out down there or wherever they want to practice it. And the country that they have, like, mate, like if they got their hands on like a sponsorship, like the world that they could create with the country that they have, like, you know, they could do.
Incredible.
They could be like get to the point where they could take Cameron Haynes out and, you know, show for him instead of the middleman or the safari man doing it. And his money can make that community rich. Does that make sense?
Yeah, exactly.
So like he's going straight to the natives. hanging out with them, and then that native's taken him to all the sweet holes where he's like, man, I've never seen so much big bulls or buffaloes or pigs, because it's on their land. They're allowed to go and do it every single day, and they live off that stuff. So when I went up to Pomperol, up there, I was chasing the scrub bulls and stuff. I've never chased a scrub bull in my life. Never even seen one. But the brothers up there, they put me onto them, and
That's
man,
incredible.
managed to, I was in a massive herd, and yeah, I was completely shitting myself.
I can imagine.
Yeah, man, I was only used to seeing bulls with no horns, man.
Yeah.
Down here. And going up there, these things, man, these are massive. They're like a metre wide.
Yeah, big old chunky suckers.
Yeah, and I think I was pushing 67 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And I shot at one, man, and I literally watched it bounce off it. I'm not sure if I was like too far or anything for the pound, but man, I was shitting the whole time. I probably shouldn't have taken the shot, but I was up there. I was so far from camp. I was dehydrated and I was completely in an unknown country, but I got it done. I managed to get it done and got that down. And once that happened, that's when I was like, yeah, I'm doing this for the rest of my life. And the whole time I was up there, I took my dad's ashes. So he was with me in a gun safe.
Oh, that's incredible.
Portal. Yeah, so everywhere I go, say if I do a little weekend hunt, I'll pack him away any day. So
that's awesome.
It's more of a look what I'm doing now, Dad.
Definitely. Mate, I think there's a lot to unpack there. One thing I want to mention is that you should try get in touch with Robert Borsak, who is the guy that runs the Shooters, Fishers and Farmers Party in New South Wales, because he'd be able to help you out with any of the, jumping through any
I've
loopholes.
been sitting up for the past, I think, nearly a month now, and just reading every single thing that I need to read, getting the notes, getting the links, and I'm not the best on computers, man, but I have to read everything a few times, so it's taken me a while. But the more help that I get, the better, because I know for a fact it's going to work.
Dude, definitely. So I'll send you at least his info after the podcast. And then what you can do is just send him an email just saying, dude, this is what I'm trying to do. I think that would be well received. Then there's obviously their groups, because it's a party of Australia. Essentially, they've got different leaders in each group. So you could send one in Victoria if it goes well in New South Wales. Send it over to WA and start setting it up.
Yeah, well, I'd love for the opportunity, because the countries that the amount of land that they would be able to provide if they had the connection and the clubs and the people that would be doing the right things, man. Mm-hmm. Like the food, everything, the lifestyle that they'll adapt to it very quickly, because they are good hunters.
Yeah, definitely.
And to be able to I don't know, just the ease of throwing your spear and then missing, and then having to wait for a long time to get another chance. Mm-hmm. So if you had the bow, you could take that shot and bang, you've got it, and it's the less work for them, if that makes sense.
Definitely.
They'll just enjoy it, and the amount of talent you'll see coming from them, man, the smiles, it's awesome, man.
100%.
Even my kids, my son got his first rat in the backyard. He shot it with his little bear bow, and stuck it to the back fence. And that was easy. He had to put a little notch with a texter on his bow.
That's awesome.
His first kill. Yeah,
mate,
he got that when I think he was 7.
I've got rats running through my backyard, and I often think I should just get my recurve out and just sit out the back here one day. Often when I'm cooking a barbecue for night time, I run along my little shade cloth down the tree and along the back fence. I'm like, I could pin it.
Yeah, no, man, it's awesome fun. But if you don't mind hitting your fence or damaging a couple of arrows if you miss it, but because they're bouncy, they know you're coming.
Speedy.
I don't know. Yeah, there's something about it. I used to hit them with a blow dart.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I used to make a blow dart out of a nail and a bit of cardboard.
That's impressive.
Yeah, and just smash them like that. Used to get mice and everything. That was just being a kid growing up, wanting to do.
Definitely. What sort of pipe
Yeah,
would you use?
just a bit of PVC pipe.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, man, the pressure that you can. Oh, mate, it's awesome.
We used to make the little glove guns out of them. So you put
Yeah.
the fingertip glove. Oh, sorry, just like a one finger glove and sticky tape it on and then shoot things out of it. And they were pretty powerful.
Yeah, they've actually got like a one like that you can shoot an arrow through now.
Far out. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, I've seen one of those. You can put an arrow in it and boom, shoots like a slingshot type thing, but it's a glove gun.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah.
So something you were talking about before was in regards to just young kids in general right now. Like earlier in the year, our house got broken into, and it was 16-year-old girls. My mate's house just got broken into. He just got his car stolen. Like, it's all going on right now. He just sending messages to us tonight.
Yeah.
13-year-olds had come and stolen his car. They took his car. It had a bobcat attached to it, and they drove it off, dropped the bobcat off, and then used his car to go and do a heap of more break-ins. And essentially, it's like they're doing it as an adrenaline rush, right? Like, it's crazy that seems to be the level as to where they've gone to, instead of it being whatever it used to be of just getting out in the outdoors and whatever. And I wonder if it is due to potentially like what social media has done, what phones have done in general with that instant gratification, right?
Definitely, man. It's just like, get the likes. Like, if you probably dig deep hard enough, they probably recorded all of that, man.
It's crazy.
And being so young, they're only going to get a slap on the wrist.
Exactly right.
You know? So they know the law better than what you do.
Uh-huh.
So, like, it's, I don't know, when the street calls, nasty things happen, man. Like, I don't know. But 13-year-olds, it's still going. It's pretty sad. But, I think they're either probably hitting the drugs and paying debts for someone. So
you do wonder that, right? Like, is it the fact that they're trying to pay off something? Is it the fact that they're just trying to make some pocket money? Or you think it's the fact that they just want to get out and have the adrenaline hit? Like, just get out with the buddies.
It's not an adrenaline hit anymore, man. Adrenaline hit's going to start a fight with someone you know you're going to lose with. That type of behaviour, man, that's a drug debt. That's doing something for someone. That's someone, I can get that for you. If you go and get it for me, mate, you won't get as much in trouble as I would.
Mm.
That's that type of behaviour.
Yeah,
and that comes down to the social stuff, the people they're listening to, the media, all that type of stuff, man. People just need to turn the tellies off and their social media is off.
Well, it's quite interesting, right? And this is where like a walkabout used to be such a like massive transition for people, right? In a sense, and I almost feel like we had something like that. And this is something that I'd love to do: is set up property where you go and you do almost like either like some form of walkabout or a rite of passage with like a dad and his son or a dad and his daughter. Essentially, you take the two out for the weekend and you go out and you go hunting all weekend. You're living off the land and doing that whole process.
That's the thing I'm working on now. So you know how you have the club code of conduct and your DPI code of conduct. I'm trying to write one for Indigenous hunting, and I'm not the smartest tool in the shed, so I'm pretty much photoshopping a lot of stuff and just adding to it with my pen at the moment. But once I go back next year to work, I'll get my boss to do all the professional stuff to it. But yeah, I am writing a code of, and a lot of the code of conduct for Indigenous hunting has a lot of the songline traditions that need to be kept. If you choose to take an Australian animal, it needs to be done indigenously. Like, there is a lot of conditions, and that's based on just keeping the culture alive. So whatever's good for the country is good for the culture. So like, there's a lot of custodian, responsibilities if you choose to join it.
Yeah.
So you need to come on the replant growth, and it's not always about hunting. It's always about giving back to country as well.
Conservation in general. So I'm intrigued by that because how do they kind of overlook something like the kangaroos and the plague numbers that we have in spaces? Like what's kind of the outlook on that from the elders, for instance?
I think it's more because the tradition in certain areas, traditional ways ain't kept anymore. So they're not allowed to go hunt,
No.
and all the land's been privatised, so they can't go walking and hunt where they normally hunt. So that person just bought a farmland where the kangaroos meet up. The kangaroos have been here longer than us, so they all know where to meet up all the time and do their thing, and that's on some private landowner's land, and he's just had jack of it meeting there. So he's just culled all of those. And so then, but back in time, that area, that's where they would have all been kept up to date by the Indigenous and, traditionally hunted. One would get hunted and take back to camp then the next day, so that they didn't have to store food.
No.
So every day was a hunt. So those things were kept at bay. And then when they did get to a point where they dropped in numbers, then by then it was a season change and diet change. So that it'll let them get populated back up, if that makes sense. So they didn't always eat the kangaroos all the time. They're a problem now because they can't, there's so much land everywhere. They're a problem now because they've got nowhere to go.
Yeah, exactly. Land and feed and whatever else about.
You're only seeing them now is because people are fencing things off all the time.
I was going to say also because they've been essentially protected for so long as well, right? Like,
yeah. It's small people just saying they're cute and cuddly. They are cute and cuddly and they're nice animals, but at some point, something is going to kill that animal savagely. Whether it gets used or it rots in the sun, it's going to happen. I don't know. Like kangaroos, they're not my totem, so I can eat those.
So what's your totem? Shark.
Yeah, my totem's a shark, so I just go diving and spend time with them when I can.
Yeah, and so when you say you can't eat them if they're your totem,
no, my duty's more to protect them. So. I'm sure other country in Australia can eat the shark, or they do eat the shark, but my job's to keep the population up of them. So they can feed other people, and it's not just one totem you have as well. So and everyone's got a totem, so that's like everyone's repopulating the animals, right down to like a grasshopper or a centipede, they're all to an insect. Everyone has their duty to keep that population of the animal up. So it's like when their ancestors would turn into those totems, and then, their job's to look after them, or they'll listen to them, and then you move to one section of another part of the country and their totem may be the goanna. So they have to keep that up populated, So there's totems that are kangaroos, and people, they can't eat those because they might be eating one of their ancestors, So they all have a reason, and I think that's how they would have kept them populated back in the time. Nothing would have ran out to the point that it's droughted. I don't know. Does that make sense?
No, it definitely does. Just wondering, you have so many ceremonies, right? And I know it's all essentially like you were talking about songlines before, but there's a lot of different ceremonies. I know, for instance, I've seen the smoking ceremony quite a lot.
Yeah.
Are there any ceremonies that are kind of related to hunting?
Yeah, there is because you got ceremonies where you song and dance, tell stories of how certain hunting come about. So you do have ceremonies. Smoking's more getting in touch with ancestors and basically knocking on the door and letting them know that you've got some good people around, or you're trying to warn the bad spirits away. Smoking ceremonies, they're pretty special. So it's like of a priest. If he comes in and baptizes you type thing.
Yeah.
with the Indigenous people, someone gets selected and has those powers because they show responsibility, all that without knowing, and then the elders of the community will grant you those type of powers, and then how you do the smoking ceremony comes down to your family line. So I had to search for people in my family to see how they did it and speak to them and things like that. Because I do smoking for my land council as well.
Okay.
So doing those, and so when you open certain land and everything down here, they'll ask for that type of thing, and I go out and do all that for the new building or something. So I let the ancestors of Durrell people know that it's okay, But yeah, you can get real political with it, but I have a job. I enjoy my job, and that's part of it.
Definitely. I mean, you've got to be happy in life, right?
Yeah, man, and there's certain ways, certain law that has to go about. I didn't really want to do the smoking ceremony because it's not my country.
Yeah.
So by law, you're not supposed to be doing it. But there's in this Durrell land, there's some people that are not being real and honest and taking advantage of the opportunities in the community, and the elders have asked if I could step up. And I'm taking it on, and my job is I teach the young ones out these ways, the culture, try and keep my song lines alive and teaching them, and I don't mind sharing it. And I've showed them my bow, and they're like, wow, and so they've all gone and got bows off their uncles and stuff. They're not the right size for them, but I've been telling them next year, once you can throw the spear and get your woomera down pat, then we'll pick up the bow, and hopefully by then I'll have the club working and all legitimate, and they can join the club, and we can go on the hunting and gathering camps and stuff with the community, and their fathers can come as well and learn the lifestyle of being a blackfella, if that makes sense.
Definitely. Yeah, it's pretty incredible. And I think it'd be such a healing journey for so many people, right? Like we all know and love bow hunting, and we understand that when you do get out in the bush, it is just such like a mind refiller, or like a cup refiller, right? Like your mindset just becomes clear. You get so much clarity when you're out there, and you get to just come back feeling refreshed, although you've worked your ass off all weekend. Like, it's just crazy what it can do for the body. And I think just getting people out and amongst that is just going to be, somewhat life-changing.
Well, when you think about it, we're up at Pomperour and up that part of Australia, they're doing that anyway. They're prepping every night. They know, because they know when the animals are coming. They're living their. They're doing it. It's not like you're picking. Oh, I want to do that. Oh, I'd like that. That looks interesting. I might take that on. They're doing it there because they have to.
Yeah.
So I want them to feel like that down here in part of the club. So and deer meat is beautiful, man. And and man, everyone that asks me about it, I'm trying to describe the taste to them, and I just say a roast pork with beef juices, And they're like, oh yeah, I've kind of tasted that. And then when they taste it, they're like, oh yeah, I can do this.
Yeah.
And then I've taken a few people out hunting to see if I can get a hunting partner, and they're keen to try it, And I've taken one bloke out who hit me up on Facebook, and he asked if anyone out there knows how to do the bow, and I was that bored doing it all myself out here. I hit him up, or my partner did, and then ever since then I go out, I hit him up, and he comes with me, and yeah, man, and he joined the same bow club that I'm in, and he tasted some deer, and he was like, yeah, man, it's beautiful, I love it, Yeah, I think I gave him some snags and he took them home and his kids liked it. So it became more of a,
It's
And
growing.
then, and then once he really got a bow, he started coming out, all that. And then he wants to provide meat himself for his family. So it created his own songline of him being self-sufficient. He started his own veggie gardens and stuff like that. And yeah, pretty proud of the dude, but
Definitely.
I was pretty sad the moment I took him up the farm, and because I've got a farm that I go hunting on for pigs, and I gave him a go of the guns. And I kind of lost him to the guns now.
Oh,
I think he's
no.
went and got a gun license.
He
And
found the
everything.
easy way.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh man. So now I'm back by myself again.
I think you can entice him back in. He'll come back.
Oh
You
yeah,
just need to dangle the
definitely.
carrot enough.
I'm a bit of a good character when I go out. We have a good fun out in the bush anyway, and where I go up there, it's pretty chill up there. It's out middle of nowhere. It's on the farm. It's me heaven away from heaven.
Yeah.
And we go up there. I've been trying to get pigs up there for nearly 7 years.
Far
The
out.
signs are up there. I've put game cameras up, the whole lot. I've got evidence of seasons changing and seeing pigs go across, but I could just never get there at the right time. And when I first started putting the game cameras up, I didn't know how to set them up with date and time.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so I stuffed all that up, had to learn the hard way, and then I went out pigging with a mate, with his dogs and everything, and he set the cameras up for me. So then I went back out and put them back out, and then I got some times, and where I've set the camera, it just took too long to get there because it's 2,500 acres, and I was too novice of everything, too keen to get out there, but like I was doing it all like I was in there trying by myself, waking up before like first light and trying to trek through the bush with your headlamp and be quiet, trying to do all of that. And it just wasn't working out for me. And then I finally got one. But then
Got a pig, you mean?
I finally got a pig, and then I couldn't I was that excited. I tried to get my GoPro out of my bag, and then when I put all my gear down, it's squealing, and then it's just ran straight through this, like all this tea tree stuff, and where it went, man, I had no clue. So I've dropped my head and pick it out of my bag, and in that same moment, I've put my head up and it stopped screaming. So I was like, where did it go? And it was raining at the time, so I've lost all blood trail. And
No way.
yeah, I had a bit of a cry out there. It was one of the moments where I'm like, I've tried so bloody hard. I should just give this crap up. Why am I doing it? Like, I'm battering myself. And it just destroyed me that moment. And and then I haven't been back for a while up the farm because of one of the roads has been blocked by an avalanche type thing.
Yeah, wow.
So I haven't been up there for a while, but I've been trying to down here, and there's some more spots that I'm trying to get on the property down here for pigs and goats.
Mate, they're definitely good fun when you get onto them. Pigs are great.
Yeah.
Pigs and goats both.
Oh man, I could tell you some stories about scone up on the property up there. I can go hunt, and man, I ran out of arrows. I shot that many, and there was one that I shot, and I got that board. I was throwing rocks at it. I was like, man, just die. Just die. Like I was following it, stalking it. If I had one more arrow, I could have put that final one in and drop him. I was trying to make him run. And it was a good one too. And like, oh man, that was one of the best weekends I had with the True Blue team, True Blue Broadhead team, like Max and the boys up there.
Yeah.
Man, best weekend ever, like hunting with some of those lads. And that's when I really know, like, this is for me, man, the bow and just the lifestyle. I want to try and teach all the young ones out here so that they can feel like this and prep and just hunting with a big group of lads. And you talk to them on social media for a while, and then you finally meet them, and the bond that you have already is so special, man. Like just you don't even do much. You might be just sitting there staring at a fire.
Yeah, yeah.
But you're out there hunting. You know, they're cowies. You know, they talk about bowing, like the whole stuff. You're not going to get in trouble about talking about bowing or hunting or cutting up meat. Or, you know, you're not going to get looked at weird. So you
I think it's the shared hardship, right? Like you understand
yeah.
what you've both gone
Each
through to get to that
person is
point.
going through that same head mile to get there where you are to relax and just go, yeah, this is it, man. I hope I get something this weekend so I can bring it home to my family.
Yeah, definitely.
It just makes you feel more that, yeah, like, I don't know, you're doing something.
Yeah, I think there's so much in that in regards to the camaraderie and stuff that comes with bow hunting.
Yeah.
But I think there's a big aha moment that I had and that you've definitely talked about having a few times. It was when I realized that bow hunting was going to be with me forever. Like it was not going to be something that I was just doing for a few years and then moved on. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of pressure got lifted off me when I kind of transitioned to that. Because it used to always just be, well, I'm going out to get meat for this weekend. And I need to get meat this weekend. And if it doesn't happen, I don't know what's going to happen. And you get to the end of the weekend, you'd be like, fuck it, I'm giving it up. And you never actually would. But it's just like the process you go through every once in a while. And then when I got to the point of like, well, it doesn't really matter because this is here with me for the rest of life. Like rest of my life, I'm going to be bow hunting.
That's it, man. Like, and then hunting with mates and all of that. And like even listening to this channel, man, before, you know, like you can relate so much to the people that have been out there going, I've been hunting for 10 years and I haven't even hit a deer yet, you know, and the pain and the sorrow and the drama, you just feel so like, bro, I want to give you a hug, man, you know. You want to pat him on the back
Exactly.
and go, but it's going to happen,
it's just
man.
there. Exactly. You're almost
You
there.
know, you just don't stop. And I think every bow hunter would go through that moment, but the ones that don't stop and keep going, man, they're the ones that, like, mate, they triumph so much once they feel like, yeah, I'm not practicing anymore. I'm training for this because this is my life. You know, it becomes a habit. And then you prep more. You study more. You want it to be a bit more professional when you do go out. So you find like you're already becoming a pro at the game. You know? And then when you go out there and you miss it or you don't come home with it, you're not as disappointed anymore. You're not like, damn it, I'm going to give it up. You're just like, well, respect. Country beat me this weekend.
Exactly.
You know?
Hand it to me.
Yeah. You accept I got kicked in the nuts this weekend. You know, you're not as down and out with the money you spend on it, the time and effort, because you're like, this is my life. It's not like I'm dipping a toe in and dipping out, and I've missed a hectic time because I didn't put the rest of my leg in.
Exactly. So I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued because pretty much with every animal I've ever killed, there's always been like quite a still process afterwards where I go through and I thank the animal. I thank it for what it's going to do for me and the family, for the amount of meals it's going to provide us with, and whatever else. Like it's just a bit of a process I like to go through of thanking the meat or thanking the animal for giving us the meat and letting the soul kind of move on.
Oh yeah.
Is there anything like that you guys do that's passed down throughout the Indigenous
100%,
communities?
man. If you like, I wouldn't say with the foreign species would practice anything like that. It'll be just more respecting because you've just killed something. I think. But Indigenous ways, yeah, there are law and way you're supposed to prepare the meal and cook on it. Like you don't cook red meat on a fire with fish and stuff like that. You don't cook the same fires.
Okay.
So you prep all like that. And
why is that?
just through ancient ways, man. Like one's water and one's earth.
Yeah, okay.
You know? They eat different things. So like it's just through. All right, you're not gonna. I don't know. You don't bury two people in the same coffin.
There's no cross contamination.
Yeah, that type of thing. And I think it's just respect to each animal, you know. And Yeah, there is ways, and so if you do it traditional, you do everything traditional. So you take everything, you use everything, stomachs, tails,
Do you
everything.
still do this?
Um, not so much now. If I do roos, I will for tanning, and see there's a certain little thing you would in the tail that's for the spears,
Okay.
and you get that out, and you make traditional spears with that. It's like a
You're talking about like this, the long hard. It's almost
yeah,
like a
the
long
sinew.
hard. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's like a big, I don't know, big vein type thing.
Yeah. It's hard to explain. It's
Yeah,
almost like a
you actually got to pull it out with your teeth.
Yeah.
That's traditional way.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
It's almost
Dad
like
did it
a
once, twice.
tenders.
I nearly dry reached a couple of times when I was a kid.
So you do it while it's raw, obviously.
Yeah, it's by the fire when you're prepping and stuff. I watched Dad do it, but I haven't done it myself.
I mean, they have quite a smell, don't they?
Yeah,
Old
man, it's
kangaroo.
like, I don't know, it's something you got to require
Yeah.
the taste for. I'm not a big fan on it myself. Mm-hmm. Not a big fan. Possum, I don't mind possum.
Okay.
Echidna is pretty nice. Like, I've eaten a lot of other things, but yeah, kangaroo, I don't know. It's a taste you got to require, and
It's funny. It's about the only one that I have had in regards to the to our actual Australian animals as such. I'd say it's probably the only. Yeah, I think from memory.
yeah. Oh, emu's pretty nice. You should give that a go if you get a
Yeah, I've heard
chance.
that's good.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. Yeah. So there is traditional ways, like you try your best to you only go for the pretty much the older generation of animal, and like the way they do it, they'd cull like the one that needs to be culled, and they'll eat that. They eat what they need to eat. They don't pick and choose or like, oh, that's a big juicy one, we'll go for that one. It's more that one's at its time. Let's take him and let the next big man come up and create a new generation of roos,
Definitely.
So selecting, picking, and everything does come down to play, but they're not like picky as in, oh, I want more meat, so let's get the bigger one. Mm-hmm. It's more like, no, that one's the one that needs to go, and whatever one presents itself at the time with the right things, they'll take that one out.
Do you think that's more in regards to belief of it being like the opportunity has been presented, so therefore we have to kind of take it because that's what's been provided as such?
Oh, more the older ones are like they've already the young ones, new fresh ones. I don't know. They're more hanging around. All the stronger ones, the faster ones, they're quicker. Mm-hmm. That they do have a weakness. So, and they're not really going to survive much longer anyway.
Definitely.
So and the older, weaker ones will always present you with a
opportunity.
All the time. So they're not. So like when they do present you with that opportunity, then I don't know, country's kind of saying it's your time to go, mate.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So going on to the cooking side of things, like open fire cooking and traditional style cookings, is there anything that you still try to practice or anything that you still enjoy doing?
I don't, not so much now because I've dove really deep into this bow hunting. But when am on country and I do have the spear and I do all that, and if I do catch fish with it, I just, I don't really do it much anymore. But if I need to with my culture class and I know how to do it, I don't mind showing it or doing it. It's sometimes my kids will be like, so like it's hard to practice it as much, but I'm doing it as much as I can. So when I do get kangaroos, they come around, and my eldest son has a bit of a go at skinning it. He's tried that. My middle son's tried skinning a rabbit. So there's certain little things, and then we go when we go out to the local beach down here. My middle son brings his spear, and he goes walking for trying to get mullets. The water's down here. There's not really enough bush tucker on the bush down here. It's really drying out. There's not much down here, so that's like why I want to get this hunting club up so we can re-put the food back into the earth down here, because there's nothing. Like the indigenous people down here can't go onto country and go and hunt and survive. You can't. You literally will die within a week. The water is not the best, you know. We used to have lots of platypuses down here. They're not here anymore because they're swimming around stolen cars in the water. Yeah, it's pretty gnarly, man. Like city blackfellas, they're pretty nasty, and I want to try and change that, make them see country again. They're too busy and looking cool and chasing tail and getting into the drugs, you know.
Yeah, I think it's also trying to like get away from trauma, right? Like in a sense, they're trying to outlive it by doing their own things.
Yeah, they're out because they don't want to come home, because sometimes some houses don't have anything to eat there.
Yeah,
because their parents have done the same thing that they're doing their whole life, and they don't know how to like budget money or save money and go shopping and get the right things, you know, because their parents, it's just a big crappy song line that no one really wants.
It's hard to break a bad cycle too, right?
Yeah. So and then you get the little rat bags that just stay out all night but hide the real truth that they don't want to go home because they don't have, I don't know, like even doona covers on their bed. Some of them don't even have a bed, or, you know, so that depresses them more, and they just go out and try and make something of themselves to get out there. And with this music and everything today, they're talking about glorifying everything and, you know, saying, oh, I did this and did that, and look at this, look how much I made, and guns this, and I bashed this person. They're making music out of it. And that's the young ones are fit into that, and it's like, oh, if I can continue doing all of this, maybe I'll be a rap star.
Yeah, exactly.
But like it does fall, but I don't know. I just want to give them another choice to choose with what I want to do, and I hope it does work. But the pain out here with them, yeah, there's nothing for them to do. So I can understand why they do the shit stirring stuff and go and steal things off people, but doesn't give them a reason to do it. But
no, definitely. I think so. Like with your sons, for instance, being aged between, like your whole family being aged between 8 to 17, I think you said, are they showing enough interest in what you do? Like, would they be interested in going out and doing a few days with you if you were to do it that way?
Oh yeah, 100%. Well, my kids always, all of them, they all want to come out in the bush with me because they just love it. But they also love the Xbox and everything as well. So
definitely, it's like anything that gives a dopamine hit, we're going to fall for, right?
Oh yeah, man. Like Goggins said, no one likes to be uncomfortable.
100%.
And so like,
that's
I try
where we
to
grow
give
the
my
best.
kids that uncomfortable time. I've got a partner. We've got two. She's got a house and I've got a house. And at my house, I don't have the internet. I don't have TV. So when they do stay at my place, it's pretty boring for them. So all they have is the trampoline or the bow or the cars or, you know, the 84 style of playing, you know.
Exactly.
Riding the bikes. But when we come over to my partner's place, she's got the internet. Her son's in the room all day playing the Xbox.
Of course.
My kids they're on their tablets, and you know let's use Wi-Fi now, and they're just all in different rooms and doing their things on those. And it's like, because everyone's going do this, and don't want to. So they're more interested in their devices.
Yeah, I understand both sides of it. It's definitely a hard thing, kind of navigating that as a parent and understanding what is too much and what's not enough. And I mean, my daughter's 3. Like I've got 2 daughters. One of them is 3, and she's the one that does like the watching and whatever else. But we just see such a behavioral shift in her when we even just do like half an hour of TV. Like she'll just transition and be.
Oh,
She's like such a sweet little angel when we don't watch it, and then we start watching it. She just starts.
It's powerful, eh?
Oh, dude, it's crazy.
It's cast the spell. Like,
It
it's
really
magic.
does.
Like, people say magic's a myth, man, but like, that's magic.
Mate, so yeah, whenever she gets that way, we just like, okay, well, it just shows us that we can't, and we explain it to her like, oh, well, you're not actually treating us very nicely, and you wouldn't like it if mummy and dad treated you that way, so we're actually going to take the TV away for now. And she's like, oh, all right, and like gets upset by it, but at the same time she understands because we're explaining it to her.
Yeah.
But the same thing, like she'll often come to me and say, Dad, I'm bored. I'm said, good, well, what do you want to do? Like, what are you going to do to make yourself entertained again? And so
it's
like,
interesting to try and watch that happen too.
It is,
try
isn't
and
it?
watch them find something to entertain themselves with.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does find it entertaining watching that happen when they're so young.
Quite often she just turns to me and says, well, can you play with me, Dad? Like, oh, it's too cute.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Like, we got that, the Uno card. Yeah, my kids are always asking to play that, but like, I'm crap at games and Xboxes and cards and everything. So like, I try my best, but I always lose. So I don't play all the time, but they're always asking me. But when I do play, I get my ass kicked by everyone.
How funny.
My partner does bowling. She likes bowling, and we go do that as well.
Yeah.
And I get my ass kicked in bowling.
At least you got bow hunting, hey?
Yeah, that's it. That's what I mean. Like, I got the bow hunting, and she's good at the bowling. She knows how to spin the ball and everything like that.
Full pro. So, I mean, taking it like in regards to, obviously you can't speak for all First Nations or Aboriginal people, but when it comes to what bow hunting means to you as an individual and I think as a nation in general, like, I don't know, what would it mean if bow hunting was to be taken away or hunting with spears was to be taken away? Like, what would that mean for like for your elders, for your tribes, for everything in general?
Oh, if that ever happened, like, you may as well try and wipe us all out again, because that's the warrior's way of feeding his family.
Mm-hmm.
So if you take away that's his culture. You may as well just try and cull us all out, pretty much. Like, it's not fair. You know, if they took that away, then I think a lot of people would feel lost, and a lot of things will happen in a bad way.
How much of a percentage, like, of people do you know that are like quite reliant on it?
On the spear?
Yeah.
Not so much down this part of Australia. Once you get up past, probably up in your country, up there, my mob up there, they use a spear. But it's always in a tinny, you know. So it's always someone's way of life. Like, down here, there's not enough food for it to happen. To be an every weekend thing. It's more of a chase the season and follow the fish or follow the animals and do what you need to do for one particular moment, you know. It's not like it's an everyday thing for us down here, because there's not many. So you're more inclined to sit and watch it and be amazed that you're seeing one. You know, the kangaroos down here, they don't look really that healthy, because they bounce around suburb towns. And, you know, just the other week we had a koala hit by a car. The koalas just roam through the town. So it's like there's always koala signs up. And, just the animals, the Aussie animals don't get hunted as much out here, because it's very rarely you see them in the bush. They're always around suburban towns or getting hit by a car, or on the side of the road getting hit by a car. Yeah, they're not in their bush habitat where they should be.
No, it's interesting, right? Because essentially we we have interrupted that as humans in general.
Yeah.
But there needs to be that coexistence. Otherwise, at some point, like either we go or they go, unfortunately. So it's about learning to live together and make that all work into play. I think it's very interesting. Like we've obviously talked about national species and stuff, and obviously as bow hunters, we're not allowed to actually hunt them. Like it's illegal to bow hunt.
No.
Like national species, I think it's just very, very. Like we should definitely make that obviously very clear. I think most people who are bow hunting in general know the rules. But yeah, I think it's just interesting. I think it's an interesting topic in general, especially with Suzanne Close, the one who's trying to shut down bow hunting and hunting with I think it's tipped hunting or huntable items in general. So that would be spears, bow darts, anything like that we were kind of talking about in general. I just think there's it just seems a bit far fetched, but then at the same time, she's also trying to get together a whole heap of Aboriginals, for instance, to come and do a gun shooting course. I'm like, hey, I understand that. I guess that's also it can be great, but also it's potentially just far fetched because you're taking away what has been known to those people for forever. And just try and say, well, this is the better way, so why not go and do it? Whereas it's not necessarily a better way at all. Like it's not going to stop animals getting injured.
Like you can't exactly get a mental health problem and kill yourself with a spear, can you?
Exactly right.
So and like that's just another tactic. I think like what she's doing there is, that's not right, man. If she's I don't reckon it'll work if she does that.
It's a very interesting point that you say, right? Like it's like mental health comes into it. You start adding more guns into the mix. You start seeing more suicide. You start seeing more
like
domestic
walkabout with a black
violence.
fella, he'll grab his spear, woman, and go walkabout, and he's harmless to anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Black fella can't go walkabout with a gun.
Exactly.
Can he? What's he going to do? He's going to lose his shit in town, and he's licensed and everything, but still the temptation's there and everything. Like I'm not a big fan on the guns, but like doing that, it's not going to just leave the spear where it is and let the man hunt and provide. I think it's like getting a dog and making it a fighting dog. It's you're making it do something that it's naturally has to do. It's got teeth to kill and everything. You take that away, domesticate a dog, and it gets fat and it can't run. It has hip problems and has everything. You take that away from a warrior or a hunter that's been taught how to do that. He's just going to explode. Like he's got nothing. He's worthless, especially to an Indigenous man. They want to provide for their family, whether it's with a gun. Like you're still going to provide, but it's not a traditional way. And then they outlaw the traditional way, man, who is he?
Yeah.
It all comes down to them. Oh, we used to throw spears, but now we shoot guns. And like, no, that's not fair. And then, but they'll paint pictures and put it all in the books and everything, but won't allow him to do it now. That's not fair.
No, definitely. I think it's very interesting, right? And I think also understanding, and this obviously potentially gets a little bit deeper, but it's understanding that you are not your craft, or you are not your work, or your title as an individual essentially doesn't define you. What you do as a job doesn't define you. How you hunt doesn't define you at all. It's like an act of all the things that you do is what actually does define you as an individual, and doing the right thing consistently, showing up for yourself and having your own moral compass. That's kind of what I think develops a man as an individual. And so I 100% agree in what you're saying. But at the same time, I want to say to people that if it ever does come to it, or if it does come to it in general, knowing that you're not defined by exactly what you may or may not be able to do as such.
No, like it's not going to make you feel any less of a man, but feeling like you can't do something like that anymore, it's kind of sucks.
I think definitely, like taking away essentially a birthright is incredibly bizarre thing to do.
So it's like, but then I don't know. it's like they want to start new traditions with banning old ones.
Yeah, I think it's
replacing
interesting.
it with something that's like, isn't that kind of what we're doing now?
Yeah, I mean, essentially what it looks like they're doing is that they're saying it's a safety issue to let people out there in the bush, so we can't let it happen. So we'll just take control of it ourselves, and we'll cull and do the complete management of animals, the complete management of humans, and it will just be this big system that the government organises, right? That's essentially what it looks like they're trying to do.
Well, that's what I'm trying to. I'm going through all those legislations and all that, the laws and everything like that to write up my thing for the Indigenous Hunting Club, so that our practices do become legislation, or however it
beneficial
says,
and whatever else.
Yeah. So where it's like, well, if you want to keep track of all the Indigenous hunters, man, like pass this through, and I'm sure they'll all join and
be on board.
You can measure up the spears they have and take photos of them just like you would with a gun. Just lock it up if it makes you feel safer. If you need to record Indigenous hunters and the way they do things, like allow them to start something like this up. I'm pretty sure they'll do it, because we got elders that grew up on kangaroo or certain foods of the country, of the land, and they're getting old now, and certain wishes are like, oh, if I could just have some more of that, and how are they meant to go and get it? So it becomes a community health, and it's a diet need for Indigenous people out here. Like, not everyone likes Macca's and KFC, man, So, like, if we did have a club where the Indigenous hunter that likes to go out and hunt, whether he's using a gun, a spear, bow, or dogs, or however he does it, he's providing, and he's covered by us, if that makes sense.
Definitely
he feels a bit more protected. He knows he's got his licenses. See, he might not be the smartest tool in the shed, and he might not have a gun license because he can't read and write.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if because he's a brother, then we will have someone sit down and help him read and write.
Well, I mean, that's the good thing about doing
like
something like the bow hunting, for instance, because it opens up the ability for everyone to be able to do it without a license. For now, as to how it stands.
He doesn't have to pass a test, to a competency test or anything, to ID parts and how to handle it, man. Like, I learn all of that out on the field. Like,
exactly right.
You hold a bow wrong, you're going to rip the shit out of your arm. You let it go. Like, all of that sort of stuff, you know. So, and then too, someone who goes through all these loopholes to join this club, he's going to have the dedication to take time to learn it.
Exactly right. Exactly. And I think, like, realistically, they'll probably, once you have the club up and running, they'll probably ask you to have some sort of like competency skills in place and testings and whatever else, which is great, because it's like, hey, we are going to teach them how to do it properly, and we're going to teach them the exact rulings as to, like, if anything, is probably one of the best things that could happen. And I think that's where the need for things like this podcast and other shows and other episodes or other channels have, for instance, started.
Yeah,
because
we could go all band together and march together and, we want it done.
Well, I mean, it's what we all started doing, right? Like, we're all hungry for more information and to share our stories. And that's where this all kind of started out and about. So, yeah, it's interesting, dude. And I think what you're onto is awesome.
And I think they would feel more protected that their culture ain't going to go anywhere. Get told they're not allowed to do it.
Exactly right.
Because it's like, hey, man, I'm licensed. Right? Yeah, I'm licensed now. Because they got you got to have Aboriginal papers to say that you're Aboriginal.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if they can put that into the government, and you need those forms and everything now, it's like, well, I want my culture protected. I'm going to join a club so I can't get in trouble if I'm seen out fishing with my spear, or trapping the way my ancestors trapped to get fish at high tide. So there's certain practice. So if the jacks or the coppers or whoever you want to call them, if they come over to you while you're on the waters, you're not going to get in trouble because you're a member of an Indigenous hunting club.
Yeah, definitely.
So no different. You get permission. You let the people know you're going down to certain areas where you're going to go fish and practice some Indigenous culture. No different to if you book a state forest hunt. You let the certain people know you're going
it's the
out.
same process,
If they create a system like that, and if it's under a type of club membership, like, because you know how like you got to join a certain, you got to get your ABA
license and whatever else.
Yeah, all of that before you can actually, if you do it like that, but it's under the same banner. So, because I'm in Nepean bow hunters out here, or out at Penrith Way, and I had to join that to be able to have a weekend, or I got to wait every fortnight or at the end of the month to just have a bow shoot.
Yeah, wow.
Like, man, if you have a place open, say if a bloke's finished work and he's got the same crane and he wants to go have a shoot, it's no different to a round of golf. Keep the course open, and that way the Indigenous out here, they finish school, come out for training, do some culture, and then do some shooting.
Mm-hmm.
By then it's too dark, they're tired, they're knackered, they're at home, and they're going to go and have dinner and go to bed.
Go to bed, exactly.
They're not going to go out or whatever. And if they do have the dramatic stuff at home, they can.
Gives them a place to come and like vent, right?
Yeah, man. And where we are, we've got like cabins. We've got the whole facilities where we can help the family out and everything like that. You know.
Yeah, dude, it sounds pretty incredible, and I think you're onto the right thing. So I think obviously, sorry, I have to say that I have to bail, unfortunately.
No, that's cool.
But
man.
within saying that, I want to pass on obviously all your details. So to follow along Shazda's journey and Shazda Brown, and your actual handle on Instagram is On Country Living.
Yeah, On Country Living. That's my little page I've been told to set up, and I'm trying to get it all going. The design I actually designed myself on the iPad.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So it's probably not. It ain't no Stony Creek type design, but yeah, we're getting there. Yeah, man.
Doesn't have to be, but it's cool. It's cool that you sharing. Like, you share so much about, obviously, just your life and about being out in the bush and hunting, and more so about being in nature, right? Like, you share about.
Yeah, man.
What
Just
you've
the
learned
exposure, the mental health stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Man, country will always help you there.
100%.
So you always go on country when you're feeling a bit down and out, and just even watching the birds playing in the tree, mate, that can help you.
Mate, can't adjust. It just puts a smile on your dial.
Yeah, just that type of stuff. And I'd love it if the young ones could like see that.
Exactly. Once they get to witness it, they start to understand it a lot more.
Yeah, definitely, man. And they'll realise how much knowledge they have about the bush when they actually go out there and be in it.
It's pretty interesting. I actually, so every other Easter we go out to the block that I grew up on, big block, like 48,000 acres up in Springshaw. Yeah. And so I only lived out there for a year and a bit, but we would go up there every other Easter every other year for Easter. And it got to a point where we went out there for like a week straight, and leaving, when I came home, I was like literally depressed. I had like holiday blues because I was leaving like one of my favorite places on earth. I was like, what the heck? Like, what is this? And really, that was probably one of the first times I was like, okay, this is actually something that really does mean something to me. I need to start bringing more into my life. And that's when I started to reconnect with my family at Gympie and start going out there a lot more and stuff. And it's like, just that real opening. As I got older, I started to have that calling back to the bush. It was pretty interesting to see it kind of happen. I think realistically, a lot of people do get that. Yeah,
that's what we call that connection to country.
Mm-hmm.
So that it's a lot of that calling, the urn, the yawn. You're constantly thinking about it, daydreaming. That's your connection to country. So when someone says, "Oh, I need to go back to country," that's what they're going through at that moment. They're feeling that like family, fun times swimming in certain water holes and going fishing with people you haven't seen for a long time or even spoke to. You know, all of that becomes a painful feeling inside you. So then they go walk about and go home, back to country. And they get their little country fix and come back home and, happy as hell, happy as Yeah.
Yeah, it's so cool. Well, thank you for giving us a small slice of it, dude. It's been cool to unpack, and I think, like you said, like there's so much that we could just keep talking about, and so
Yeah,
let's
man.
keep in touch. Like we definitely will. We'll talk anyway, and I'm intrigued to see how this all unplays for you, how it all unfolds.
Yeah. Nah, thanks for the opportunity, man. Really appreciate it, and love the show, love the podcast. Yeah, man, and yeah.
Cheers, Shasta. Appreciate it, dude.
Thanks for the opportunity, man. I hope it goes good.
You're so welcome.
Can't wait to get it out.
That wraps up this week's episode. Thank you so much for joining us, team. If you did have any topics, questions, or you wanted to suggest a guest for Becoming a Bowhunter, you can send me an email at matty@becomingabowhunter.com. If you are enjoying the show or you've enjoyed in particular episodes, please do me a solid and share it around with your friends. If you are not already, please hit the subscribe button, as the more subscribers we get, the higher the podcast gets ranked, and that definitely helps out for showing it to other individuals. If you are not already following me on Instagram, it's at becomingabowhunter.podcast, and on YouTube, it's Becoming a Bowhunter. Get out, team, fling some arrows, get that practice in, and walk those yards in the paddocks until you find those critters. That is it for now, but not the last time that you'll hear from Becoming a Bowhunter.